So let's see, I went to UC Davis and got my, I graduated with a degree in international relations. And then I decided I wanted to do, after a year exploring in the real world, I was like, yeah, I think I want to teach. So I went back and got my teaching credential. And while I was getting my teaching credential, I just happened to be dating somebody at the time who was really into environmental sustainability and was getting their MBA at UC Davis. And so he introduced me to this book called Ishmael. And I just saw it like right there. I was like, let me pull it out. It's a prop. And so I read it, loved it. And it's really about exploring the mental models that are driving our unsustainable behavior. So at the time I was doing my student teaching, so I immediately embedded all these ideas into my social studies courses and saw the kids like loved it. And so that really got me started on environmental education. And then I took that passion into my work in Holland, where I taught for 4 years at an international school. And the kids there were really fired up about it. I had students whose parents were, vice president of the the IPCC and other kind of like large United Nations type climate things, which it was only in like 2008. So it was interesting to learn from them and kind of get into their passion. And we did a lot of like climate protests while I was there. Then I helped them start an environmental nonprofit. So that was just really cool to see it all unfold like that in my time in Holland. And it just really, for me, reinforced like the need to teach in this way because kids were so engaged. And then I decided from there, the school actually decided for me that that kind of energy was a little too much for them because they were largely, the parent population there mostly worked at Dutch Shell, which is a Dutch royal company. And so they're like, I think it's time for you to go with all this talk against big oil. So I learned a lot from that experience. And I decided to come back to the United States and get an MBA in sustainable business because I felt like I didn't know how to talk to the business community very well as a classroom teacher. So I wanted to not have that experience again. So I went and got my MBA in sustainable business. And then that really took me from the classroom level to the site level. So one of the jobs I took after graduating from that program was a site level director of sustainability. And it was a really exciting time. That was in 2013. I think I was the first person in the state to have that job full time at a K through 12 school. And so it was just great to learn, like, what does this really look like to make transformation happen across a school? And I spent 4 years there really building out programs and services and understanding like what it takes to make change happen at one institution. And that brought me to the job at the county office, who also big leaders and innovators in the state, where they were the first county office in the state to say, we want to do an environmental literacy initiative. Not just focus on green facilities, but like focus on the whole thing, right? Thinking about whole school sustainability, like facilities and curriculum. And so they found me and I found them, and we were a match made in heaven. Just kidding. But we found each other and we were super excited. And that's how my work went from the site level to the county level. So in that transition, I took most of like what I've learned in that decade of success and failure of things kind of working in school communities, and have tried to build out a model in San Mateo County that I think is scalable to other counties in California and then beyond as well. And the model is really, it's less of being like a site level change, but it's more of like what a backbone agency can do to support site level change and district level change within a region. Yeah, I think, gosh, it's so funny. If I even go back and look at some of the philosophy statements I was writing in my credential program, which I just recently did because I'm teaching now in a program and I was having my students do that. But I really focused in on the idea that the education system is like, it is so fundamental to our cultural narrative, right? Like there's only so many pillars that have such an impact on culture, and education system is one of them. I would say religion is another, and the family unit is another. And so I feel like if we want to make a paradigm shift happen, to move from status quo to sustainable lifestyles, we really need to make sure that the education system is on board with that paradigm shift. Otherwise, you're just kind of like perpetuating, broken mental models. So that for me is the reason to invest in formal education. I think I know I could make a whole lot more money if I just did this work in corporate America, but I feel like the true leverage point for change in society is in education. And so I would like to see schools be hubs and models of sustainability that we just continue to graduate students from. And then when they step out into the world and they will either see something that's sustainable and they'll say yes and let's keep it going, or they'll see as they leave these beautiful sustainable campuses, they'll be like, hey, where's my compost bin? Where's my solar panels? Where's this? Where's that? And they will demand the change. And for me, that's always been like just a idea or a vision. It had always been that, but now that I've been doing this work for almost 15 years, I can see that reality is true. Like kids who've worked with us and have been in sustainable schools do graduate saying those things. Like, where is all this stuff? Like, I want to make change happen. I had it here and I want it to be different there. So I think that that's like not just like a false narrative. It's like a reality that is possible. So I'd love to see that experience for all students in all communities.